Hello everyone. Good day to you wherever you're watching from. My name is Oluwaseun Fadari. So tonight, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you're watching from, I just want to explain one of the logics that we've been able to prepare based on the expert advisor that has been created. So it's just to help us to project and predict the market direction effectively. And this will also help us to identify the best action that will be taken if on the beats. So let me share my screen just be a short summary because I already have the data prepared, you know, um already down. So I'm just going to bring up, yeah, so just going to bring up the screen to be able to see the performance of the EA in general. So I'm going to explain two logics here on the screen. So I will just take two samples from each one of them. So we have two projects here, two EAs. One is FAD EA, FAD EA Joy, and the other one is Victoria 11046 Victoria. So this is the first one, which is FAD EA Joy. So what do we want to achieve with this EA? So what we want to achieve with this EA is to identify the first side of the market in order to help us to project and predict the last direction. So we want to identify whether it's the high price that came first or the low price that came first. Okay. So once you're able to get that, then everything other thing becomes so easy. So this EA was installed, I think, on the 6th or so of January. So if you look here from the report that we have here, we have the high price at 99.172 and was achieved on the 7th of January. And the low price was 96.7 and was achieved on the 10th of January. So from this information, we can see that the high price came first before the low price. So as far as this market is concerned for now, this market is a sell. Okay. Now, what is going to happen for the rest of the month is that we continue to monitor this. Today is the 12th, which is just the weekend. So this was activated on Friday, the 10th of January. So today is the 12th, which is the Sunday. Okay, so by tomorrow, the market is going to open again and we continue for the rest of the month. So if this changes in the next 2, 3 days, then it's likely that the market may finally come down for the rest of the month. If not, after 2 or 3 days of last changing, then it's likely maybe the market may try to reverse back to the opposite side. So, but in order to reverse back to the opposite side as well, we have what we call the midpoint price here. So according to this position, the midpoint price is 97.9. Okay. So if the market stops to come downwards below the current day's change at 96.7, and the low begins to go above 97.9, then it means that the market is likely to go up for the rest of the month. Okay, so that is the context of this definition of this EA. So ability to identify the first side and then follow the first side to the end of the month is the key secret and the success of this EA. So as you can see here, the market was down before, came up to this point, and then finally came down to this point. So as it's coming down here, we take a sell downwards. Now it's here at this point. So if it goes back up, then as far as we are concerned for now, our lockup position is between this midpoint and the low price. So we expect the market to shield out of either the two sides. Okay, so that is what this is all about. So as the market also comes downwards, the mid price shifts downwards, and as the price goes upwards as well, the midpoint goes upwards. So the midpoint, this yellow line, is just to help to project the mid price between the highest and the lowest position. Okay, so that's AUD. So this is Euro USD as well. You can see from the data we had here, 1.0436 was achieved on the 6th, and 1.021 was achieved on the 10th. So the last move was the low price. AUD USD as well, you can see the high price was achieved on the 6th, the low price was achieved on the 10th. Euro AUD, as you can see here, the high price was achieved on the 10th and the low price was achieved on the 6th. Okay. Euro GBP as well, the high price was achieved on the 9th, the low price was achieved on the 7th, as you can see here. Euro JPY, the high price was achieved on the 7th, the low price was achieved on the 10th. So that's how this is New Zealand USD. The high price was achieved on the 7th, the low price was achieved on the 10th. Okay, so all we just need to do is monitor these prices continually, and because this is the last move so far, so we monitor the last move. After 2-3 days that it doesn't move again, then it's likely that the market is changing direction, and then we change the direction of our action. So if it's from the low, then it means we are going to buy upwards, and if it's from the high, that means we are going to sell downwards. Okay, so as you can see here, this is USD CHF. The high price was on the 10th, the low price on the 6th. So if the next 2 days the high does not change, then that means the market is changing direction, and then we begin to sell downwards and until it crosses the mid price. And then it's likely it come downwards to shift the low price lower than the current position. Okay, so that is how this EA works. Okay, so the next EA we want to talk about is 1106 Victoria. Okay, so this EA is very, very um, it helps also to predict the direction of the market. But in this context, we have some conditions that we have developed from this EA. So normally this EA creates 6 lines. Okay, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so out of these 6 lines, 2 lines, the blue line and the orange line, are always on the long stretch of lines, and they also originate from the beginning. So this is what we call our start high and low positions. So for us to be able to project the market direction, we expect the current price to be more than 4 lines to one side. So what do we mean by that? So in this instance, you can see that this price, this is the current price now. So we expect the price to cross 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this point, the market is a sell, okay, because because the 4 lines are already at the top. So from this point downwards, this market is a sell. If it is the other way around, like when it was going up, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So from this point upwards, which is this line, the market is a buy upwards here to this point, and then it didn't change direction again from this point, and then reversed back. And so on its reversal from this point, we act as a sell downwards because we already have 4 lines above it. Okay, but when it is in the middle, then we wait in between 3 positions and 3 positions. We wait until the 4th position, which helps us to get the next line of action. Okay, so let's look at other examples. So like I said earlier, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So from this point at this position, it's our sell point. Okay, so you can see here we only have 2 price. Now we have the price at this point. So if the market should go up, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So once the market should get to this point again, then we start to buy upwards ahead. Okay. So Euro AUD, so you can see like here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So from the blue line here, it's a buy position upwards. And if the market comes down as well, once it gets to the fourth line here below here, then it becomes a sell. Okay, so Euro GBP you can see as well 1, 2, 3, 4. So from this point, it becomes a buy upwards. So if it's coming down 1, 2, 3, 4, once it gets to the blue line, it becomes a sell downwards. Okay, so look at this as well. So you can see initially 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this point, it was a buy upwards. And now that it's coming down, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this point here, it becomes a sell. So now that we are here, so we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it gets to this point here, the blue line, then it becomes a buy for the rest of the month. Okay. So Euro USD as well, you can see the same thing is already 4 steps down and is a sell. So if it gets to 1, 2, 3, 4 to the blue line, it becomes a buy for the rest of the month. Okay, so that's how this second logic break Victoria, that is how it works. So once it passes 4 of the lines, then it gives us a good direction of the market, and then we are able to take action as best as possible. Okay, so as you can see here in this instance, the market is in the middle because we have 1, 2, 3 lines up above and we have 1, 2, 3 lines below. So for this is USD JPY. So the market is in between. So for now, we are waiting for the next action. So if the price should cross the blue line upwards, then it becomes a buy. If it crosses the orange line downwards, then it becomes a sell for the rest of the month. Okay, so this is AUD card. It's already at the bottom, which is a sell. So if it goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, so when it crosses this red line, it becomes a buy for the rest of the month. Okay. So GBP card as well, you can see it at the bottom. So once it's past 1, 2, 3, 4, then it becomes 3, 4, then becomes a buy because we have 2 lines here. So it becomes a buy from this red line upwards, it becomes a buy for the rest of the month. CHF JPY, you can see we have the 2 lines here and the third line. So it's a sell. So once it gets to the blue line here, upwards, then it becomes a buy because you already have 1, 2, 3 lines here already. Okay, so if it gets up here upwards, then it becomes a buy for the rest of the month. GBP AUD as well, it's at the bottom is sell. So if it gets up to 1, 2, 3, 4 from this point upwards, it becomes a buy. Okay, gold and silver. So this is silver. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a buy here. So if the package should come down to this point downwards, then it becomes a sell. And for gold, our good gold, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So at this point, it became a buy from this line upwards. So if the market should come down to 1, 2, 3, 4 at this price, then it becomes a sell for the rest of the month. So that is how we'll be using this EA effectively to help us to get the best decision of the market and to help us to take accurate and decisive position. So you can see here as well, like here, this is S&P FTSE. So we have 1, 2, 3. And we have 1, 2, 3. So you can see that the market now is indirectly around the middle. Okay, so we wait for it again to get out of that position for us to know the final move, whether it's going to be a buy or sell. And in most cases, the last move is usually out of these two long lines. Okay, so it's usually most times out of these two long lines. So as you can see here, this is a sell, it's below the two long lines. Okay, so you can see here, this is a buy, it's above the two long lines. So once it comes down to the fourth position downwards, then we act accordingly. So you can see here it as well, the position is below the two long lines. US Tech, the position is below the two long lines, and same S&P, sorry, silver is above the two long lines, and gold is above the two long lines. Okay, so that is how this EA will be able to help us to project and give the best decision of the market. And from this information, we will now be able to take the correct action according to this information. So this will help us to be able to guide us towards taking the correct decision, and then we'll be able to take profitable trades for the rest of the month. Okay, so this is how this EA is going to help us to take accurate and decisive decisions. Okay, so thank you very much. So like I said, this is the Project Victoria EA and Project Joy EA. So as for some of you that are my students, so as we be able to go through, be able to monitor these EAs continuously, and also be able to install them and be able to identify how this EA is able to help us to project and predict the market direction as good as and as quickly as possible. So the earlier we get the direction, like you can see here, we have a straight line from this point. So which means this is the point that this highest price became static. So what we are trying to do is that from this point, we want to start to sell downwards until this point. Okay, so for example, this is Euro New Zealand. So from this point, the market has been a static point. So what we are trying to do is that we want to start buying as much as possible around this point, so that when it goes up, we're going to make profit. Also, for example, look at gold, for example. This is when this became static, the lowest point. So what we're trying to do is that from this point, we want to ensure that we identify the market as quickly as possible, so that we can be able to buy upwards until it gets to this point. Okay, for gold, for silver as well, you can see from this point the market has been static. So we just want to ensure that we identify this position as quickly as possible, and then we are able to buy all the way up to this point. Okay, so AUD JPY, you can see from this point the market went up to this point, and from this mark point the market started selling downwards to this point. So after 1 day or 2 days that the mark this side does not change again, then we begin to take actions towards a sell, and we close our buy and follow the trend. And now that the market is here as well, after 2 days that the market does not move again, we change direction and move upwards accordingly. As once it crosses the fourth line, then we go all the way for the rest of the month, okay, or for the rest of the period. So this is how this EA is able to help us to project the best decision and the best direction of the market, and from there we are able to take the correct action for the rest of the month. Okay, so that. And finally, I also like to mention this EA as well, although we've not been able to effectively use it, but the EA helps us to be able to identify the current extreme of the market. Okay, so what it does is that this EA has creates a 5 lines mode. So based on the number of trends of timelines. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the highest point and this is the lowest point. So from this, as you can see here, the market is at the bottom. So which means this market has been a sell from this point downwards. Okay. So the earlier we identify the first extreme, especially, then we are able to predict and project the best direction of the market. So you can see here, for example, this, according to this time frame, the market came first at the top and then came downwards to a sell. Okay, so the earlier you can see this is 8th of January. So this is for the short term, but for the long term, we are going to look at over the period of more than um a longer period of timeline so that you'll be able to identify the first position and be able to act on that as early as possible, for the rest of the month. Okay, so that will be the plan and that will be the logic of how this will be able to operate effectively and help us to be able to take correct actions as quickly as possible. So once you're able to identify the first extreme of the market, then we'll be able to follow those extreme to the end of the market before the market makes its next reversal. Okay, so that is how this will be able to help us effectively also to be able to identify the market moves and also be able to take positive and correct decisions for the market. Okay, so thank you very much. I appreciate your time. So hopefully we'll be able to also continue to study and learn these logics and these strategies together effectively. Okay. So I remain yours and only Oluwase Fadare. Have a great time and a great year 2025 ahead. Cheers. Bye.